And these options, I'm going to give you a brief summary and then we're going to go through a pros and cons list of each option. Of course, this is just my opinion based off of, years and years of testing bikes.
Oh, here he goes, subtly telling us how good he is, years and years of wanker.
And I often get things wrong. So if you've got something to add, please share it below in a collaborative way.
Get off the internet, you idiots.
Option 1 is buying a second-hand bike. But for this one, I'm going to throw in a curly one. I'm not talking about a second-hand disc brake bike. I'm talking about a second-hand rim brake bike. Why? For that $3,000 to $4,000 USD budget, you will be able to purchase a Tour de France winning bike from less than a decade ago. I made a video about this whole rim brake thing up here, but at a high level, I purchased a 2013 rim brake BMC team machine with Shimano Durace for 1600 AUD, which is about 1000 USD. Completely overhauled it with new parts, new wheels, tires, and even bondized it with some aero bars, and that cost me a touch over 5,000 AUD or circa 3,500 USD. I then compared that rim brake BMC to my modern 15,000 disc brake BMC, and the rim brake bike across 4 different speed tests was mostly faster, and I only spent a touch over 5,000 AUD all up on that bike. Link to that video below. So the question is, why would I not buy a rim brake bike then? What are the cons? Number 1 is street cred. Maybe it's not cool to rock up to your social ride or group ride with a rim brake bike. I don't know. I don't care about it. I think it's cool. When somebody rocks up with a rim brake bike, I'm asking more questions than if they've got a disc brake bike. But it seems to be common. It's just not that cool anymore. Tire clearance. You're probably going to be maxing out at 28mm tire clearance, but that's still pretty good. You'll most likely only get 11-speed gearing on the back. WheelTech is now focused on the disc brake market, meaning the advancement in carbon wheel technology, particularly in the hub and the engineering associated with that, is mostly focused on the disc brake market. Braking performance is the obvious one, but I personally believe it's overhyped unless you live in an alpine region, and you're probably better off spending a couple of $100 on a skills coach teaching you how to use your brake versus $2,000 upgrading to a disc brake bike because the braking performance is better. First-hand treatment is definitely a consideration. Challenges sourcing new parts. For example, we needed to change the front chainring when I bought the 2013 rim brake BMC, and I could only find a 5236, nothing else. And then of course, resale. The rim brake market is just not very strong, hence why you can pick up a great deal, but if you end up spending many thousands bringing it back to life, like I did, you'll be hard pressed to get your money back. Now, that seems like a lot of cons, and it kind of is, but I feel like there's one big pro to compensate this situation. And that is, out of the 3 options, this bike will be the number 1 on performance. Partly due to the fact you're also getting the Tier 1 frame. So what do I mean by that? If you're buying new, which we'll get to shortly, you'll 99 times out of 100 be buying the Tier 2 frame. So the carbon fiber used, the resins, the layup, it's all a little bit different. The tube shapes and the geometry is still the same, but the quality of the carbon layup is at a lower quality versus a Tier 1 frame, which you'll get in the rim brake market. Weight is another huge benefit. My 2013 rim brake BMC built up without pedals was 6.4 kilograms. Ease of servicing, ease of changing parts, ease of everything is the other clear one. But ultimately, if you've got this $3,000 to $4,000 budget and you've got a priority list, I'd suggest writing one down. It's good to do because it really makes you narrow in on what you really want, and climbing, speed, acceleration makes the top 5, then you're going to be hard pressed to beat the rim brake bike. Option 2, and I feel this will probably be the most popular option as it's new and it's mainstream, and that is buying a brand new mainstream bike on a run out special. And that last point, run out special, is super important because this is how you're going to create available budget to be able to upgrade the wheels and tires. Now, for the purpose of this discussion and video, let's assume we're talking bare minimum Shimano 105 Di2, which means electric. We all want electric shifting. So if we go to the BMC Team Machine SLR4, we're talking 3,200 USD, which is basically 5,000 AUD. If we go to the Giant TCR Advanced 1, we're talking the same. And strangely, if you want the specialized equivalent, you have to downgrade to the older SL7 model. Currently it's an SL8 in the Tier 1, and that's currently 5,000 AUD also. Now here's the thing about these mainstream options. You blow your budget all in one hit, meaning you're walking away with a bike with sluggish, heavy, slow wheels and tires. It's like the opposite of putting lipstick on a pig. You've got a great frame, you've got an excellent group set, but you've got terrible wheels and tires. Now the beauty is you can change these over straight away, but please don't consider this as a phase 2. This is super important to get you enjoying road cycling even more, to get you keeping up with your mate you want to keep up with, the local group ride you want to hang on to. You've got to have good wheels and tires. I'm really doubling down on this, not for my own benefit. There's no special links below. I just truly believe this. And in order to achieve this at that mainstream level, you've got to look for run out deals. Now, what do I mean specifically? The example I'd like to give you here is the BMC SLR5 I ran a project on in 2024. That was with Shimano 105 Di2, but it had some brick wheels and tires that totaled a bike weight of circa 8.2 kilograms at a medium level and was going for 3,600 USD or 5,500 AUD at the time. Once again, eating completely into that 3,000 to 4,000 USD budget that we have available. However, in 2025, BMC decided to upgrade the SLR range, and it wasn't even a big upgrade. Geometry stayed the same, tube shapes, design stayed the same, everything except the carbon layup was slightly improved, and you can now fully route the cables into the bike. So what did BMC and the distributors and the retailers do to the older version? Complete run out sale. Aaron, my bike mechanic, had the exact same 2024 BMC SLR I labeled the Silver Fox going earlier this year for 3,500 AUD. Now yes, this is a unique deal, but bike brands typically change their models every 3 years, thereabouts. So when they're doing it, they're going to do a run out sale. Now, if you're not too fussed about which mainstream bike brand that you choose, and let's face it, they're all great with retail support, then there's bound to be one happening this year. Hold tight until that happens and then go hard at getting yourself a deal. And this is going to create available budget to immediately swap out the wheels and the tires. And this is going to have a profound impact on the speed of the bike, how well it climbs, how well it accelerates. Once again, I made videos about this topic, link below. Now, what are the cons? Well, disc brakes will annoy you at some point, I promise. Bent rotors, Chewbacca sounds, brake pads needing replacing a lot more often than rim brake pads. They will just annoy you, trust me. It's still going to be on the heavy side in comparison to the rim brake option, but at around 7.5, which is where you should land. That's not too bad. You're not buying the latest model, but let's face it, you know, if it's about street cred, rocking up to your social ride with it, most people aren't going to notice. You're buying the Tier 2 frame. So for example, BMC have the SLR model, and then they also have the SLR01 model, which is the higher grade Tier 1 carbon layup. The handlebars are probably going to be cheap and uncomfortable. I can't say that categorically, but that was certainly the case for the BMC SLR5 that I ran a project on last year. The pros: modern bike with modern braking performance, electronic shifting, 12-speed, easy to get parts and can lean into the modern tech. Good tire clearance, most likely over 30 millimeters. Good resale value. The third option is selecting a Tier 2 brand with good local support. Now, I've done plenty of Chinese bike projects which probably fall into this Tier 2, even Tier 3 bike brand. And despite the fact some of these brands, like Winspace, have raised their prices to confusing levels, I still have my reservations about Chinese branded bikes when local support is not part of the equation. Now, here in Australia, you can get local support on Winspace, and you can also get it on Elves, and for the purposes of this video, I did look up the Elves Falath Evo, as I know their local support in Australia is very good. I was shocked to learn that the Shimano 105 Di2 model was 6,500 Aussie dollars. Over the budget allocation for this video and from my riding experiences, not the bike I'd personally enjoy riding around my terrain, which is very lumpy and rough. The Polygon Helios, on the other hand, I looked that up with Di2 105, and that is 4,400 AUD, or in the US, I believe it's 3,700 USD. And it comes with carbon wheels, although to be fair, I don't think their carbon wheels are gonna set the world on fire. However, at 1,500 grams, according to the website, they can't be too bad. And additionally, you get some Pirelli P0 Road TLR tires. And those tires are pretty reasonable, better than what you'll find on most mainstream bikes at a similar budget. And the beauty here is Bikes Online offer this Indonesian brand, which is very well regarded in the mountain bike space and seems to be holding its own in the road space, with local support here in Australia and also the USA. If it was me buying this bike, haven't ridden those wheels, but I think they're going to be average. So I would immediately take those wheels, put them on the secondhand market as new, get 500 AUD for them, and they'll sell pretty quickly, being carbon and at a good depth. And then you've got quite a significant budget to get yourself a nice set of carbon wheels and tires. Now you might be asking at this point in the video, well, what's a good set of carbon wheels and what's a good set of tires? I don't have a specific one to recommend, but I'll link to 4 or 5 below that I think, based off my experiences, are definitely worthwhile. So, what are the cons of this option? Well, they're the same as the cons of option 2 from a disc brake perspective, although Polygon have one tiered carbon layer. So this is actually their tier 1 model, not suggesting it is the same as a tier 1 mainstream, but it is their tier 1 model. Keep in mind, as an aero bike, it's gonna be on the heavier side, especially if you don't upgrade those wheels. And it's not a strong secondhand market, but having said that, I've found the Polygon in particular to be easier to sell than, say, some of the Chinese branded bikes, although probably the fastest one that I've sold was the Elves Falith, which I think has to do with the way that bike looks. Seems to grab people's attention. The pros, same as the previous option again, electronic shifting, 12-speed, etc. But you really can't question value for money. And I think that's a rarity in today's world, value for money. It's very rare you look at a bike and go, yeah, I know where that $20,000 is coming from, despite the fact that margins with bike brands, distributors and shops seems to be at an all-time low. So I don't know where the money's going, but certainly with the case of the Polygon, I think value for money is a big tick. So that's my list. What do you think? What's your opinion? Let me know below. If you got value from this video, please don't forget to give it a like, and I'll catch you in the next one.